All right. I think we're here and we're recording now. We're with Dr. Avi Davis, and this is Dr. Shea Data of Residency Success. And we are here today post the storm of match week to congratulate Dr. Davis for matching in psychiatry, which is one of the most competitive specialties this match cycle, due to there being, I heard there was only one spot during SOAP. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe there was only one spot left during SOAP or one program that had available spots this year during SOAP. So,
Congratulations. And I know it's been a long road for you. So we want to hear your story a little bit about your background. And we really just are trying to help other students that may be contemplating, applying and they may be a little lost or feeling discouraged, and kind of walk them through sort of your journey to give them hope.
sure, yeah. So I got in this time around during my third application cycle. So I'm a 2018 graduate from Ross University. I'm a U.S. citizen, and I had been applying to psychiatry for the past 2 years. I really hadn't had great success. The first year I had about 3 interviews. The second year I had 12. This year I had 17. And so, I guess, first of all, it's difficult to learn to interview well, right? It's not something that we really learn in medical school.
Yeah.
And how to sell ourselves and how to go about talking about the things that you want to be able to accomplish in your career in kind of an interview setting when you are kind of interviewing with someone who makes you feel, I guess, in a way, starstruck. For me, right? We speak to program directors, and to us, they're these, huge mentors that we could have for a long time. So, just working with Residency Success and changing a few things and learning a little bit about the process, and I think really helped me. I don't know if there's something in particular that you wanted to ask about, whether it's interviews or personal statements or anything like that, Dr. Data.
Yeah, Avi, like I think with you, you always were so humble and you were always like an open book when you came to us, and you and I had a lot of life discussions. We had discussions about how to keep yourself motivated, and we kind of tried to pinpoint what exactly was holding you back during your interviews when we first started working together. And I think that is one thing that staying, humble and kind of knowing that there might be something that you need to improve is one thing, right? But then working on it and actually admitting to yourself and overcoming is a big deal too. So I must congratulate you that you put in the work, you realized you needed the extra help, and each time you reached out to us, I was able to help you, or if I wasn't, you worked with another team member, which was also in the same shoes as a fellow or a resident somewhere else. Can you tell us about what services did we help you with?
Yeah, definitely. So I worked with you a little bit on my personal statement that I wrote for psychiatry. And so we did some editing, some things that we thought might be stand out a little bit more or kind of tell a little bit more of my story. And then some of the other things that we worked on, I guess, was unfortunately when I first didn't match, you're kind of in a panic, right? So I went online, I looked up, who should I speak to, where can I get guidance? And so I network a lot through, I guess, LinkedIn or Facebook and Instagram and all the social media that we can use. And luckily, Ross has a big network. But I don't remember how somehow I ended up on your page. And I reached out. So it was really nice to have kind of a conversation with someone who's been through the process, who's been through fellowship, residency, is part of a program and has taught residents and students. And so to hear it, I guess, from someone who I guess has just been there or been there in the last, 5 to 10 years. And then the same to kind of work with Dr. Farnsworth and learn a little bit more about interviewing, right? So I think something that I was doing, something that happens to a lot of IMGs and a lot of applicants is we feel like it's so competitive and we feel so small in such a big field. And when you interview, you really need to come in confident and come from a place of abundance, right? You want to tell them all about yourself in a humble way. But I think at first I was coming from kind of like a scarcity mindset, right? I was scared to talk a little bit about who I was, my accomplishments, and how I had gotten to where I had gotten. So I think working with yourself and with Dr. Farnsworth definitely helped me kind of get past that and be confident in my abilities and my accomplishments. And I think that really shined a lot this year.
Absolutely. I think it's like an onion. It's like peeling back the layers of the process. First, you want to make sure that your application is rock solid and tight. And to your credit, you did a lot of the stuff that we teach residents, medical students to do is network, reach out to your network, ask questions, ask people, what can you improve? And of course, you're going to get different advice from different people, but at least you'll know where you stand, and then you can take an amalgamation and sort of like boil down that stuff and then apply it. And that's really what you did. And my really goal is for you guys to feel supported and have a comprehensive suite of services, like in terms of like the document editing. Hey, even last minute people reach out to us for their interviews. We're available, like, to cover you, because we have a network or a team that I tap into. So how did you feel whenever you had a question? Did you feel supported by us?
Yeah, of course. I guess in a way, I would say that I have a pretty decent relationship with Dr. Farnsworth. I'll text him if I have a particular question in between our interview practice sessions, or of course when I matched, I texted him and I let him know. And I know that he was also recently graduated from fellowship and was applying to a job, so I asked him to keep me in the loop and tell me about what he's been up to. So it's nice, of course. In a way, we work in a very professional way, but there's also, I feel, almost like a friendship built. And someone who you meet who is just a few years ahead of you, who has been, right where you've been before, and can kind of guide you through the process, right? Because it's such a difficult process. You hear so many different things. You can read so many different things on all the online forums. But I think it's different when you have kind of like a mentor or someone that you speak to who you really trust, and you feel that they can kind of give you guidance without, or guidance that you can have confidence in, I guess is a better way to say it.
Yeah, I think you said something very crucial because of the different people on my team. So there's myself, a couple of other residents, and we have basically, between all of us, we have a lot of specialties covered, as well as different, different things that we are good at. There are certain things one shines in. So I always match the applicant. I always call them, and I knew you because we'd already worked together. I matched them with the best person for them, personality-wise, who's going to actually bring out the best in them. And so I really thought at that time Ben Farnsworth was the right person. He was my medical student, actually, when I was a resident. And, he's actually very humble, and he's very easy to kind of talk to. And I felt like that would be a right match for you as well. So tell me about your experience with the interview preparation portion with us. Do you think it kind of gave you any light bulbs, or pointed out some things that you might have been doing wrong, or gave you like a different way to do things?
Well, I definitely used your guide. I know that you had kind of like a PDF guide of some questions. I had something myself, and I think that in a way, kind of putting them together, just reading through questions, and I think that you have kind of like little snippets or little phrases below, and things that you want us to kind of keep in mind when you're responding to a particular question. I don't have one off the top of my head right now, but I think those kind of helped me kind of have a better idea. And then when I sat down with Ben, Dr. Farnsworth, I think it's just nice. It kind of gives you confidence when you're able to kind of have a back and forth and have them say, yeah, you do sound confident, or you do sound like you know what you're talking about, or like you're not, I don't know, playing around with the question. So I think all those things are important, and especially this year when we were all online. So of course, practicing being on camera, setting up the view that your camera is going to have, the white wall where you're sitting, the lighting, all these things. So it's nice to be able to have someone to bounce ideas kind of back and forth with. And maybe you didn't do as well on one of the interviews that you had, and you wanted to speak to them in between and better prepare for some of your other interviews. So I met with Ben or Dr. Farnsworth about 3 or 4 times throughout the interview season. And I think I had 17 interviews this season. So I met with him, I think, before I even started, and then I met with him maybe after 5 interviews, and then I met with him maybe after 10 interviews. So I felt that, near the end of my application or my interview cycle, I was only getting stronger and stronger and more confident in my abilities, and learning really how to talk about yourself, which I think is something difficult because we don't really do much of that in medical school.
Yeah, I think, initially laying the groundwork when we first started working together, we talked about your chances, what may you be doing wrong, what can you change. So really, like when you are, let's say, unmatched and going into a next cycle, there's only 6 months left, right? From now until the next cycle, people don't realize the urgency that you need to regroup stat. Just like what you did, you regrouped, you went online, you looked for places and people to speak to give you feedback so you can start getting stronger for next year. Instead of that, people just waste time. And I sometimes wonder, why wouldn't you want to just take the money you're saving from traveling to interviews, which most likely all of our interviews are going to be via Zoom from now on. This pandemic's not going anywhere, and invest that into yourself so that you give yourself a leg up and the best possible, chance to succeed. So in terms of what you have matched into, psych has become very competitive with the advent of telehealth and telemedicine. I think you're going to go very far because you also know how it feels to be in a position where, you're not feeling so great mentally. You have to push yourself. I mean, that's just a tip of the iceberg of what you'll see in psych patients, obviously. But what advice would you give to others that are in your shoes, maybe repeat applicants, and how should they improve their application?
Yeah, so I think you have to kind of, there's a few different things. One of them is definitely to kind of fine comb your application and look through if there may be any red flags, things that you find. Um, be very meticulous with how you fill out, ERAS. And I know that I believe you had a session with, I forgot her name, but I know she's an applicant from Colombia, Dr.
Daniela Rodriguez.
Yeah, Dr. Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you had a session for that and kind of going through ERAS because ERAS is difficult to deal with. So I would definitely recommend understanding ERAS well and how things can be listed on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think interviewing is of the utmost importance, of course, because you can have, even the year before, I had 13 interviews, but I wasn't going in and really talking about myself and answering answers in a way that I would sell, was best selling myself. So I think that that's really important to be good at. It's a skill, you definitely have to practice it. And I definitely recognize that, you knew how to, not only knew how to interview, but you kind of had a background in that area before you were in medicine.
Right.
So that was something that I was, interested in working and learning about. Um, and I guess, just not listening to everybody around you and that voice in your head that's telling you, whether or not you can or can make it. You can. Sometimes it takes a few extra tries. And, I'm very excited to be here now.
Okay, we're so excited for you. Dr. Davis matched into a university program in a big city, and he's excited as we. And what about future plans? Any plans for fellowship? Any ideas on the horizon where you would want to work and what?
Yeah, so right now I'll be moving to Philadelphia in the next couple of months. So I'm very excited to get my hands on, I guess, some psych patients or my first real patients.
Hmm?
I do have an interest in doing child and adolescent psychiatry fellowship.
Okay.
And then we'll see if I end up staying in Philadelphia after those 4 years. But I'm down south here in Miami, so we'll see, I guess, where I end up.
Yeah, you're gonna miss the sunshine. Most likely, you're gonna come back.
Yeah, we'll
It's
see.
gonna be hard, those hard winters. You'll definitely miss it. But Philly's a great city, lot to do, good for like young. There's so many great universities there. We're just happy that you're going to be close by. I might do a residency success get together once everyone's vaccinated fully, because there's a lot of our candidates in the Northeast now. So I hope, Dr. Davis, that you'll stay in touch, and you're always so giving of your time to students. Dr. Davis teaches, himself for medical students for step one, and that is actually a huge accomplishment given that, you're still trying to do your thing, but you're still trying to help other people. And really, that's what the medicine mindset is about, giving back. The cycle just continues. If you give back, that good karma kind of continues. You go because a lot of times people are matched and they're like, oh yeah, I've matched. I don't have to bother with helping anybody else or giving my testimonial. And this kind of shows, look, this is what the residency program saw in you, that you are going to be a good doctor, and the person that gives back, it shows their character. They're going to be the type of person that's going to put their patients first, give back to the community, give back. Like it's always the reach back. So
I mean, I think that in medicine, of course, it's something that's kind of ingrained in us, but I don't really think, at least the way I've always been, is you don't really have to think about when you're going to receive. I just feel that when you give, it'll eventually find its way back to you.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I found that with you guys, I received help from applicants prior to me and people who were my mentors in medical school, and you guys as well. And I have students that I mentor now. So I'm just happy and I feel very lucky to be where I'm at. And I'm always happy to help and stay in touch with you guys.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I just hope for the rest of the weekend you're just partying and not working. So that's your prescription. And thank you, Dr. Davis. Stay in touch with us. I'll reach out. Hopefully, you can stay in touch as a Residency Success ambassador.
Sounds good. It was a pleasure, Dr. Dada. Please say hi to Dr. Farnsworth when you talk to him for me.
I definitely will. I'm connecting with him later on today.
Have a nice day.
All right, take care.